Muted. Hey everyone. Sorry about that. I was muted. Happy Monday, everyone. If you are normally doing a mindful Monday or a motivational Monday, I'm really happy that you're here with me today for the Other Side podcast, where we are all about, the other side of this mental health journey that we're all on, trying to figure it out, trying to grow and develop and continue to expand ourselves as we are on this journey of life together. And so why not participate in learning together and growing together in this format? Since I can't have conversations with you guys in your living rooms individually, this is the next best thing. My name is Janelle. I'm your host of the Other Side podcast. I want to say hello and thank you for joining me again. Hey, Adam. Glad to have you here. So I'm really excited about today's topic. It's something that actually me and my friends have been talking about a lot. And you may have gotten that information from either an email or my social media posts. And it has to do with this, I don't know, I think it's because this day and age and where we're in, I just feel like a lot of us are dealing with decluttering our minds, right? Like, how do we do it? How do we go about it? Because it just feels like we just got a jumble of things in our head at all moments of the day. Just all these things happening. You're just thinking to yourself, man, I have all these things to do. And then you almost freeze because you don't know what to do first because it's just like all a big scramble in your mind. And so I think it would be great if we just talked about this a little bit together. And so some of the conversations that I was having with my friends, one of my friends was saying that, they're doing one thing, right? They blocked out the time to do this one thing. And then a phone call comes through and they're like, oh, let me pick up the phone call. Right. And then they literally stop doing the thing that they're doing and sometimes don't even finish. And then they feel guilty at the end of the day because they had all these things that they were supposed to do and got maybe half of them done because they were interrupted by different phone calls and things like that. This person just happens to be in the real estate business. And so she feels like if she doesn't answer the call, she's going to miss money, right? Like miss an opportunity to make another sale, another connection, that kind of thing. And so I would almost guess that many of us do the same thing. We may not be in real estate, but there is something that happens in our day while we're doing a task and we will allow it to disrupt us. We might call it squirrel, right? Like go on to the next thing and get lost in the sauce of all the other things that there are to do in the day, and can totally relate to that. I've been there too. I'm not saying this that like I've never been there before. But there are some things that I've put into place in my life that have been super helpful to help reduce that to a very large degree. So that way you can be way more productive. And I just thought it would be great if we talked about these together. Some of these things may work better for you than others, but I say try them all, see which one fits, and then use that as much as you can. Okay, so the first thing that I suggest that you do when you just feel like you have a lot of things going on in your brain, whether it's feelings, conversations that you want to have, tasks that you have to accomplish, just jot it down. Journaling, a lot of people talk about journaling and how helpful it is. And I think mainly they think of the mental health side, right? A lot of emotions, thoughts, feelings that we're having, and just taking it out of your brain and writing it down, very, very, very helpful. The task related things too, same thing. If you write it down, oh yeah, I have to call my mother today. I have to go to the post office. I have to make at least 2 more social media posts, like whatever that is, you just go ahead and write it down. So at least you can come back and you're like, oh yeah, what's that thing that I said I was going to do? And then but I forgot that I had to do it. You can go back to your list and see it there. Right. So journaling is really, really great. Highly recommend everybody have that. And if you have a little pocket one too, that you can just always carry around with you, because sometimes you're online at CVS and you're like, oh yeah, this thing that I was supposed to do, right? And so you can jot it down if it's a little note thing. Many of us just use our cell phones, and I know I'm big on that. I have a lot of task lists on my cell phone that I can go to when I forget what I wanted to do. So definitely journaling and writing it down, super helpful. The next one that I want to talk about, number 2, would be creating a task list. Let's just be honest. The vast majority of clutter that is in our brain is the list of things that we need to do, right? All the things that you've been wanting to do, you need to do, the mundane, the really exciting, the really hard, all of it. Write it down in a task list. Just write down the task. And what I would recommend is that when you look at this task list, at the very beginning of the day, you should do the 3 hardest things on your task list first. Get them done first, because when you start off through the day, you have the most amount of energy, the most amount of brain power with you. You're just off of some sleep, hopefully some good sleep, maybe not enough as, we've talked about in the past, but you can tackle those things head on and just get them out of the way and off your plate. Because believe me, the stress that reduces or releases is very, very helpful. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3, turn your task list into your calendar. So essentially, turn your tasks into your schedule for the day. This, to me, is where the amateurs leave the amateur realm and become professionals. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. When you can turn your task list into times in the day. Okay, so from 9 to 9:30, I am going to eat breakfast. And from 9:30 to 10:30, I'm going to the gym. Then from 10:30 to 11, I am going to go to the post office. And from 11 to 12, I'm going to eat lunch. And then from 12 to 1, I'm right, like whatever. I'm just listing out things. I mean, like everything. You can even add showering in there, all the things, even scheduling in some downtime. I'm going to spend 15 minutes not looking at the computer. I'm just going to walk around the block real quick, scheduling in everything. If you can take your tasks and turn it into your calendar, talk about things that change. Because now you go look at your calendar and you're like, oh, what am I supposed to be doing right now? You've already figured out, oh, the top 3 most challenging things I've already scheduled to do between 10 and 11, and then 11 to 12, and then 12 to 1, right? Like you've already scheduled yourself to do all of them. So honestly, guys, again, that's what takes the amateurs and puts them in the professional realm. So I highly recommend that. Then I have some folks, Brandon, I hope you don't mind if I share this, if you ever do watch this. He and I were having a conversation about consistency and what he believes will help him be more consistent. And one of those things he feels is scheduling. He feels like if he scheduled things, if he had things in the calendar, he would just be more consistent in his businesses. And I was like, well, why do you think that you're not doing that? He's like, well, it's just boring. And I was like, well, this makes a lot of sense. I get that, because if you're not having fun doing the thing that you want to do, it becomes super challenging, right? You almost like don't want to do the thing because it's boring. So what I really recommend is that you take the thing that's really boring, or you think like, oh man, I really don't want to do this, and like you make it fun. And for him, he's really into AI technology and all that. And I was like, well, have you found an AI application that can actually schedule things for you? And he was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get into that and get back to you. Right? Like he loves that, right? Got him really super excited. And I have to say, so this is my number 4. If you can use some sort of AI assistance for scheduling, that would be huge for you. If you're not afraid of AI, if you've gotten to the point where you want to explore, there are several different AI applications that can actually do that. But I highly recommend, for those who are probably the most efficient, there's one particular AI, or maybe there's a couple of them, but the one that I was introduced to, it's really for CEOs and executives of major companies and or entrepreneurs who are kind of running their own business, or solopreneurs. What it does is you send it the tasks that you have for the day, and it will figure out which ones require the most energy, the most time, the most effort. And it will depending on the task, it will then put it in your calendar for you based on the difficulty or the challenge or the time that it takes for that task. And so there's a paywall. So you're this. Oh, awesome. So excited for you, Adam. Yeah. So there's a paywall to of course use the services like everything else. I believe it's about $23 to $25 a month. But I mean, like if you're running your own business, $23 to $25 a month, I mean, that's my Netflix, right? Like to be able to save me time, energy, and money by having my AI plan out my day for me. This is one less decision you have to make. It's one less decision that takes up time in your brain, right? That like there's there is a mental load that happens when you're constantly having to make decisions. And when you're constantly having to make decisions, it takes away from your ability to be consistent, to have focus, right? Because it's just another decision. So if you can, one, reduce the friction from what it takes to do the thing. So if it's a lot of friction, if it's not fun, if it's boring to make a schedule, hey, reduce that friction of the boringness. Have an AI technology do it for you. Now you've reduced the friction. It's easier. It's already on your calendar. You already have, oh, I'm doing this at this time, at this time, and you just follow the calendar and you're just good, right? You're just in a flow. You don't have to worry about it. So highly recommend that as my number 4. Number 5, and this might seem a little bit obvious, maybe less, just get a real assistant. Just get a real life assistant. There are assistants that are virtual, so real human beings that are virtual assistants, and you can get them from all over the world, really. They do this all over the world, and they will do all the things that I just mentioned for you, but you get a human touch. You get someone to talk to, someone who may be able to figure out little nuances that maybe the AI just hasn't quite gotten yet, or whatever that it looks like for you. Perhaps, or do things that the AI doesn't do, like make phone calls. I don't believe the AI scheduler makes phone calls for you, or like contacts people to make sure that like things are okay. Maybe they send out certain emails on your behalf just to, have communication going, et cetera. And so while you're busy doing that really challenging thing, maybe your virtual assistant is doing like all the really easy things that are on your to-do list. And so you just don't have to worry about them. Right. So, certainly something to think about. I'm going to push any of my entrepreneurs who are watching. Definitely think about this. You need systems in place to help. Systems are going to help with the declutter, so you're not having to make those decisions, and you're not burdened by the daily decisions that you have to make every day. So I'm going to push all of my entrepreneurs out there to invest in something that can help create a system for you. So a system is saving you significant time, energy, and money. And so an AI assistant, a virtual assistant, is one of those things. While you're doing the really challenging thing, while you're doing the thing that is fun for you, while you're doing the thing that you're called to do, right? The thing that you're a genius at, you can have the virtual assistant, you can have the AI do the things that you really find mundane and boring and just don't want to do, right? So, but ultimately help, right? They help in making this massive business that you're running go smoothly and run effortlessly. So it really is an investment. You're thinking, oh, I don't have the money. I don't have the money for this right now. Well, how much money are you losing by not having one? Because you're wasting time doing all these other little things that somebody else could be doing. So I honestly would say cut it into, create a budget line for this. That this is something that's super needed. Talking to myself right now as well. As I'm talking about this, I'm like, ooh, yeah, I need to get one of those for sure. So as we wrap up, right, the things that you can do to help declutter your mind. 1, journal, just write it down, jot it down, little notebook, little pad, if it's on your phone, just whatever you're thinking, all the feelings, jot them down, all the tasks, jot them down, just get them out of your head and put them down somewhere. It's super helpful because then you can always go back. Create a task list. A lot of us are cluttered by just all the different things that we need to do. So number 2, create a task list. So that way you can go back and reflect on, okay, here are the tasks. Let me get through them one by one. I know there are some people out there that love to check off the task list. I feel you. Don't worry. It works. Then number 3 is taking the amateurs to the pros, taking that task list and then have it become your calendar. So it's no longer a to-do list, but it's actually what I'm doing during the day. It becomes your boss almost, right? Your calendar becomes your boss. Number 4, get an AI assistant, get some sort of AI program to be able to help you with that scheduling. Huge. And then number 5, get a real life assistant. It could be a real life human virtual assistant, or it could be someone, a real life in-person assistant. Either way, super helpful. So number 1, journal, jot it down. Number 2, create a task list. Number 3, make the task list into your calendar. Number 4, get an AI assistant who can help you do all the scheduling. Number 5, get a real life assistant. Any of those things should be helpful. They're certainly doable. Please tell me which one you're already doing in the comments. Let me know. I really am curious. What are you guys doing? How is it working for you? If one is working more for you than the other, again, please let us know. We want to have a conversation about this in the comments. And If there's one that you aren't doing, but you feel like you're gonna now put into its place, please go ahead and do that. I think I would also like to know about the ones that you feel like you're gonna try for the very first time. And as a bonus, I will say this, as a bonus, I love the Pomodoro technique. The Pomodoro technique is super easy. You can go on YouTube, find some Pomodoros, but essentially the Pomodoro figured out that our brains can't focus on anything for longer than 15 to 20 minutes. So you focus on something for 15 or 20 minutes, most of them are 20, and then for 5 minutes, you stop doing what you're doing. You walk around, stretch, whatever for 5 minutes, and then you come back for another 20-minute stretch of like pure focus. The Pomodoros on YouTube, what you have are they time it with certain music. I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. I'm a big fan of Harry Potter. So I typically do Harry Potter Pomodoros. I also have a beach Pomodoro. 20 minutes, you just hear ocean waves. And then for 5 minutes, it's just like whatever, chill lo-fi music, and I just walk around and then come back. 20 minutes beach. Same thing with Harry Potter. 20 minutes of Harry Potter music, then 5 minutes walk around, then you're back at it. Whatever floats your boat. It's a really helpful way to help you focus. That way you're not thinking about the clutter. But if you don't have a schedule, if you don't have a task list, the Pomodoro serves no purpose because you don't even know what you're focusing on. All right, guys, that's my time. I hope this was helpful. If this was helpful, please share this with your friends. Share, tag people who you think this would be helpful for them to see and hear. Let them know. If you really like it yourself, the best thing to do to support, and it's for free, just subscribe. If you subscribe to the channel, if you like it, then you know that you are telling YouTube as an algorithm this is important, and they will continue to spread the word. Really quickly, that's Pomodoro. I'm putting it in the chat, but I'll also put it here because somebody just asked and I want to make sure that everybody knows. It's called the Pomodoro technique. So here we go. Pomodoro technique. That's the technique. So you can go ahead and look that up. It's amazing. I use it for my writing when I was writing my book all the time. Use it all the time. It's really, really helpful. All right, everyone. Have an amazing rest of your night and the rest of your week. And I will see you next time. Take care.